Hello everybody, it's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter and welcome to my weekly episode. It is episode number 344 for February the 3rd, 2026. And I guess Wyatt and Willie, the groundhog, all the other ones, I guess they all saw their shadow, so it's going to be an early spring. I guess. Who knows? Right now, we could probably use it. Yeah, and my hair's a mess. Okay, anyways, let's turn our attention to what I've been working on, and here we go. Okay, my Quilt of Valor, completely done now, and it's all bound and it's quilted and I love it, and I'm writing the pattern. Actually, I have the first draft of the pattern already written up, but as I said, excuse me, voice is going, I'm going to adapt this pattern so that it could be used with any panel, which isn't too hard to do, and I'm sure most of you have figured that out already. But anyways, I thought I'd show you a few close-ups. So here it is, the top of it. I'm very happy with the way it turned out. And let's move on to a little bit of a close-up here of the quilting. This is the back of the quilt, and you can see this fabric is a gradient or ombre, yeah, which is actually from the same line as the fabric that's in the front of the quilt as well, the Old Canada Series 13. I love that fabric. And, oops, I guess I don't have another one. I thought I had one where I could show you closer up what this pattern looks like. So let's blow it up a little bit. Well, that's a little maybe too much of a blow up, but you get the idea. It is, if you look carefully, it is maple leaves in swirls, which actually you have seen this before if you've been here for a while, because this is the quilting pattern I use on all my Quilt of Valor ones because I think it's most appropriate for that. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing is this. Now, I've gotten a little further with this. This is a table runner. At least I thought it was going to be a table runner. It is a OESD design. It's called Springtime Table Runner. So that's why I thought it was a table runner. And it is. And it will be. But the instructions were very confusing. There's one thing about the OESD instructions I find very, very annoying. They want you to use every product they sell. Way too many products. You do not need it. I think they wanted you to put this down on a no-show mesh and on top of a tearaway, and then they want you to use some kind of sticky stuff because you were to cut out the little pieces you see here, the little purple piece and the white piece. They wanted you to cut those out beforehand onto this sticky stuff and lay it down on this. You don't need to do that at all. They make their patterns much more complicated because they're trying to sell you product. That's my opinion. Maybe you differ. But they're trying to sell you a bunch of their products, which are expensive as well, to do these designs. And you don't need those products. All you needed for this was your fabric and your thread, of course, and no-show mesh. I use 2 layers of no-show mesh, and it works fine. I don't need to cut out those shapes. I do it as applique in the hoop applique, which it puts down a tack down line for the fabric. So you just take a piece of fabric bigger than the shape that you're going to be using. And once it's done the tack down line, you just take your duckbill scissors and cut it out, and you're fine. That's all you need. Saves a lot of time. And the end result is just as good, if not better, than what they want you to do. So I do understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to sell you product. If you were to buy all the product they would recommend for any of these projects, it would double, if not more, the cost of the project. So yeah, maybe if you're a beginning quilter or beginning in the hoop embroiderer, maybe you want to use all those things to try it out. But I can tell you, once you get going, you're not going to need most of the stuff that they tell you to make. And because they have pages and pages and pages in the instructions about that, you get a little lost. There's actually 3 projects you can do with this. There's a wall hanging, there's a mini table runner, and then there's placemats. Well, I only want the table runner. I don't know if I'll do the placemats or not. I might. but we'll see down the road. I'm not interested in another wall hanging because I don't have any walls left, basically, to put anything on. But anyways, I'm working on this one, and I now have all the pieces I need. Ignore those green ones. This is where I got a little mixed up. I thought those had to go into the table runner. They don't. They are meant for the placemats. And just as well, because I wasn't really sure about that green fabric with the purple fabric. It's a little bit out of my color range. But anyways, so hopefully today I'll get to stitching all the pieces together and it'll start to look like a table runner, not just a bunch of pieces with pieces of paper on them and clips. Yeah, so that's what I have been up to. And let's see, what's that take me to? Do I have any more pictures to show you of that stuff? Oh, yeah, here we go. I got things out of order. Yeah, here's a close-up of the quilting. Sorry about the mix-up. So this is what the quilting on the back of the Quilt of Valor quilt looks like. And so you can see the maple leaf and the swirls. I think it's a really nice pattern. Okay, back here to me. I don't think I have anything in there else to show you. No, I do not. So what's coming up next? Well, we've got Sewing with Me as usual, Wednesdays. Links in the show notes below. Everybody's welcome. If you're brand new to my channel, don't be shy. We have a great time. Come and go as you please. As I said, it's not recorded. It's not a YouTube live. It is a Zoom. It's down below. I sound like a broken record, don't I? I say this every week. In fact, I think I say it on every one of my videos during the week. So you get it about 4 times. Yeah. I assume you know everything by now. All right. Speaking of other sewing events, Pop-Up Sew Day. We had one this past weekend. This past Saturday, and I had about 30 people there. It was good turnout, and I think everybody had a good time. Lots of things were being done, lots of sharing going on, and yeah, it's always fun. So if you missed it, when's the next one? I'm thinking February the 21st, Saturday, February 21st, but stay tuned. I always post the links and all the details about it a few days before, so tune in a few days before. Tune in all the time. Subscribe. I said that yesterday on my vlog. Subscribe. I'm kind of pushing the subscription thing because a lot of you come all the time, but you're not subscribed. So please subscribe. It costs nothing. Okay, a retreat update. So the presenters and what they're presenting. So we have Maureen O'Connor from the Opinionated Quilter. I'm sure most of you are familiar with her. If you're not, check out her YouTube channel. It's called The Opinionated Quilter. And her topic, how to reduce your scrap pile, using what you have and decreasing your production of scraps. So we all have scraps, and I am sure that Maureen will give an excellent presentation on what to do with that because she has all kinds of ideas and she does scrap quilts all the time. We have John from East Quilting Co. Most of you are familiar with him. He's out in the east coast of Canada. He does wonderful designs based on literature, like Anna Green Gables, The Wizard of Oz, and the one that's coming up in April. I think it's called Dusk to Dawn. It's the Peter Pan one. I'm actually going to be, I bought the kit for that. It's supposed to arrive sometime early April, I think, end of March. And I'll be joining in on the sew-along with that, which is something unusual for me because I don't usually do sew-alongs. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm not looking forward to the amount of cutting that's involved in that, but the end result is worth it. But anyways, John will be here, and we'll be catching up with John, what's new and what's coming up in his world, because he always has a lot of really exciting projects and things and events going on. So yeah, and you might want to check them out in advance of the retreat. Just go to Art East Company, or Art East Quilt Company. Just do a search, you'll find it. It'll come up real quick in Google, and check him out. And then we have somebody just a little different. Ruth Roberts. She is a clinical sociologist, and her topic is It's All in Your Head, Brain Health, and Creativity. She is also a quilter and a sewer too, so she's not anybody foreign to our world at all, but I think this will be very, very interesting. So yeah, I thought I would let you know who everybody is that's going to be up for this spring retreat. Now, I haven't said anything about registration yet, and the spring retreat is free, absolutely free, but you do have to register. I will be talking about that when we get closer to the date. The date for the retreat is Saturday, April the 18th, but there will be 2 weeks before that. I will open up registration. Now, I will be telling you in detail all about how you go about registering for it. I'll even be producing a video about how to do all of that. So that'll come out the end of March. So yeah, we're getting there. I mean, we're in February now. Look how fast January went. At least I thought it went fast. Okay, so last week on So Chatty, we did another subscriber suggestion. And thank you for those suggestions. And if you have suggestions, please do not hesitate to send them to me either in the comments below my productions, for lack of a better word, or just send them directly to me by email. My email address is in the show notes. And I'd be happy to explore your topic further. So last week we did PDF patterns versus printed patterns. Which should you buy? So we looked at the pros and cons of both formats. And what's coming up this week? I think we're going to be looking at creativity and challenges. And this is another topic that's been suggested by you. So thank you for those of you that have been sending me in suggestions. I want more. I want more. I can't get enough. I am finding these topics are really interesting for me to explore. And I think you're finding them kind of interesting too. So don't hesitate to send me ideas. Okay, so I can find my picture here. Went to Ultimate Sewing on the weekend. And of course, as I do, I bought a few things. And just give me a second here to find, where the heck's my cursor? I always lose my cursor. Magic Mouse my foot. Do you have that problem? Any of you that have a Mac and have a Magic Mouse? I find the Magic Mouse a little bit annoying. I've been thinking about replacing it because it is not so magic. But anyways, let me just see here. Bear with me. Talk amongst yourselves. Here we go. I knew I had it. So let's get it up here. This Magic Mouse. I run out of desk space for it. Okay, I think we're in the ball game. Now, there we go. Okay, so they were having a sale because the owner of the store, Shirley, was away in Mexico, and they were calling it When the Cat's Away. They were having a sale. So I wanted more because I can never get enough of Canadian themed, especially the Northcott fabrics. So I went in to see what they had because there was a sale. And actually, if you bought what was a whole bolt, like what was ever left on the bolt, you got 25% off. And there was 25% off pre-cuts. I staying away from the pre-cuts. I love pre-cuts. I love the way they package them, the way they look. But then they sit on my shelves forever because I never know what to do with them. So I have a pile of them. So I stayed away from that. But I did find some Canadian fabric. Now, this isn't all the Northcott O Canada series. I think there's maybe two that are not, and that's the red maple leaves and then the red and black maple leaves. I don't think those are Northcott. This one, the red one with the red and black maple leaves, the bigger one, might be, not sure. But the other ones are for sure. And then I saw this. This is more gray. It looks purpley. Purpley gray here because of the lighting. But it's actually a little bit more gray. And I think there was about 4.5 meters left on the bolt for that. So I got that because, you know, it'll make a good like background for things. Lately I've been collecting sort of bolts of fabric that I think will work as backgrounds, especially white, because I use a lot of white. I should try other colors, I know, but again, that all depends on a lot of things. But anyways, yeah, so that was my haul. I think that right there is, I got 2 meters of everything with the exception of the one off the bolt. As I said, it was 4.5. I think it cost me about $200, which isn't bad. Because I got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 14.5 meters of fabric for $200. So yeah, Ultimate Sewing. If you're ever in the area, check them out. Their prices can't be beat. They really can't be. And you know, the store staff are really helpful, really friendly. I can't say enough about it. I love it. Okay, so let us go to, what am I going to next? Oh, pattern writing. Um, Now I understand why patterns cost so much. As you know, I've been working on the pattern for that Quilt of Valor one, but I'm making it a more universal pattern so that it will work, the instructions will work with any panel that you might have in your stash that you want to just do something with. But boy, quilt math, hard. Pattern writing, hard. But I persevered, and I think I have something that's very workable now. So yeah, I probably don't write my patterns the way a regular pattern writer would do it. Now, I know some pattern writers use the program EQ8. I have it. I have EQ8. And I do use it. But I don't know all the ins and outs of it. However, thanks to one of my subscribers on the Pop-Up Sew Day, told me how to drop a panel into EQ8 so you could use it, because I was struggling with that. Thank you, Heidi. And yeah, that's just opened up a whole new world in EQ8 for me. Yeah, and because I learned a few other things that spun off from that. And isn't that always the way? I am one of those kind of people that I have to be working on a project as I learn something new, because otherwise it won't stick in my brain. You know, I could read all the manuals, and I have all the manuals for EQ8, and I have tried to go through them. I even have ones that are set up like lesson plans, and I've tried to do that, but I just can't do it. I can't focus on that. I need to have a practical reason for why I am trying to learn something. So anyways, I did learn something with that, and that's great, and that has helped me write this pattern. But the way I put this pattern together was, I had graph paper, I was drawing out boxes and putting in measurements and things like that and trying to do quilt math, and it wasn't working for me. I can't visualize it through numbers. So I used the design wall. I figured out what size the panel needed to be to make all the other pieces I was putting together fit. And before I sewed anything, I put various pieces, test pieces, and that up on the design wall and figured out the measurements from there. So I don't know if that is how people who write patterns on a regular basis do it. I have a feeling it is not, but that's the way I did it. So, and it worked. The math works. So what stage am I at now? Well, as I said, I have the first version of the pattern already written out. It's a little bit more than a draft, but a little less than finalized. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, follow my own instructions, word by word, line by line, to make a second quilt. It won't be a Quilt of Valor quilt. It'll be one that's based on a panel that I've got in my stash. And I'll adjust the pattern accordingly, because I'm sure I'm going to find something that needs clarification or is a mistake. And that is how I will work through the process. Once it's all done, once I am happy with the pattern, then I'm going to do I have several ideas in mind. One, I don't sell my patterns. You know that because I list all my patterns in my show notes that are free for you to download. They're all PDF. This one will be the same. However, I may offer it to the Quilt of Valor group to see if they want to put it in their store and sell it to make money for the Quilts of Valor. I don't want any money for it. I'm not going to charge them for it or expect royalties or anything like that. No, it's a freebie. It's my donation to them. If they like it, I don't know. The format my pattern is in, they might have a very structured format for patterns. So that is something I have to explore. The other thing is, if they don't want it, or whatever, I will probably offer it free for you. in a few months. And I'll put it in the show notes and I'll let you know when that is available. And if you're interested in it, you'll be able to get your hands on it for free. Dimensions free. And the other thing I might do is before I even make it available to the general public, I may give it to the people who attend the retreat first. So they'll get first dibs at it. I don't know. These are the thoughts in my head right now. There's a lot of thoughts in my head. Constantly spinning and churning. Kind of like a blender of ideas. But anyways, that's my plans right now. We'll see what happens, see how this gets formalized later. Okay. Let's move on, shall we, to a subscriber's quilt of the week. And this one comes from Pat Jennings, who always has beautiful, beautiful quilts. Subscriber's quilt of the week comes from a good friend of the channel, and that's Pat Jennings. And we've seen Pat's lovely art quilts before. And here she sends us another one. She says, this quilt was rescued from eBay, washed, took apart, trim blocks to size, put back together, layered for hand quilting. After working on and off for approximately 20 years, I put the last stitches in yesterday. Well, this is quite the find, and it is a beautiful quilt. With the applique, and the quilting itself is very nice. And Pat gives us a close-up here, if we go over here, to see and it looks like it's probably hand-stitched. The embroidery on it. Now, I'm not sure. She layered for hand quilting. Okay. She put it back together. So I'm assuming that Pat has done the hand quilting herself. And it is absolutely beautiful. So what a find. But just goes to show you that old quilts that you might pick up from places like charity shops or eBay or wherever can have a longer life if you take them apart and rework them into your style. So somebody's trash becomes somebody else's treasure. So thank you, Pat, for sharing this quilt with us. And that takes me to YouTube video of the week. And this is a new quilter, or someone, I don't know if he's a new quilter, but he's somebody that's new on YouTube. And I believe he's in Australia, either Australia or New Zealand. I'm not sure which. But anyways, he goes by the name Mr. Quilter. This week's YouTube video of the week is not a separate video, but a whole bunch of videos by one new YouTube content creator and quilter called Mr. Quilter. One of my subscribers put me onto this, and I haven't really looked at it thoroughly, but I have checked out bits and pieces of it, and what I've seen so far, it looks very nicely done, very professional. Now, I think this person, his name is Brandon, and he says here under his more, hi there, I'm Brendan, and I'm a beginner quilter sharing my journey as I learn all about the world of quilting. You could say I'm the new guy on the quilting block. Follow along as I grow my skills, share projects and tips, and have a bit of fun along the way. It sounds from his accent that he is probably in the UK, and it looks like he likes to do a lot of foundation paper piecing. So for those of you that are into foundation paper piecing, this is probably good for you, especially if you're just starting out, as he is. He does an unboxing, a fabric haul unboxing. He talks about his must-have tools, and he shares his very first quilt with us as well. He doesn't have a lot of videos yet, nor does he have a lot of subscribers, but I think this will grow over time. So if you want to get on the ground level with a new male quilter, then check out Mr. Quilter. So that brings me to future projects, and this one is a pattern that I just downloaded, and it's a free pattern, and it's by Michelle Van Dyke, and it's called Bits and Pieces. This week's future project is one that is called Bits and Pieces Quilting, is by Bits and Pieces Quilting, and the designer of this quilt, which is all scrappy, using half square triangles, is from Michelle Van Dyke. And she does have a YouTube channel as well called Bits and Pieces Quilting, so you may want to check out her channel as well. But I thought this one might be great because I have a whole bunch of scrap half square triangles that I could use for this. Plus I have lots of scraps like we all do, and this looks like a really easy pattern to work with. And it's more than just a scrap quilt because it has, you know, some planning has gone into it as well. So although it uses scraps, it is still designer scraps, if you wish. It finishes at 68 by 76 and a half inches, which is pretty good. And it tells you here what you need for fabric and how to cut everything and how to assemble the whole quilt. So if you're looking for a fun pattern to use up your bits and pieces, your scraps, your orphan half square triangles, then this might be the one for you, and it's absolutely free. So you'll find the link for this pattern in the show notes below. So that takes me to points of interest, and this one comes from Glenna Miller. And just before I cut over to it, I do need some points of interest. People, if you have found an article, a website, a YouTube channel, or a YouTube video, or any of the above, that you think this is something other people should see or know about, please send me the link to it. I will explore it further and present it here as a point of interest. Right now, today's point of interest, I think, is my last one that I have. So I'm a little desperate for some points of interest. So please, as I said, if you have something that you think other people would be interested in the general quilting sewing community, then send me the link to wherever that is, and I will take it from there. Thank you. And so, without further ado, here is this week's point of interest sent in by Glenna Miller. This week on Points of Interest, I have a very interesting link to a very interesting website in person, and this was submitted by Glenna Miller. And Glenna writes extensively about this, so I'm going to read you what she has to say about Elaine's adventures in quilting. She says, Happy New Year to both you and Walter. I want to let you know I look forward to all of your weekly YouTube videos and always hope to join in on your Wednesday sew days and pop-up sew days. Unfortunately, my family commitments have kept me busy. I'm so glad you're starting the Points of Interest segment. I enjoy learning about new websites, YouTube channels, etc. to spark my knowledge in crafting. This year I came across a website, Quilters Bee Adventures in Quilting, and Quilters Bee on Facebook. This site is run by Elaine Thompson Kizicki from Lancaster, New York. She is very knowledgeable in the AccuQuilt system. Elaine teaches online Zoom classes on beginner AccuQuilt, grids and pattern conversion class, teaching you to use the AccuQuilt cube system with non-AccuQuilt patterns, and many other classes listed on her website. As you take a class with Elaine, she will accept you in her private Facebook page, and she or her followers will answer any additional questions you may have about a technique. She is a former owner/director of an equestrian camp, former educator at a sewing center, and a cancer survivor. I have taken a couple of her classes, Scrappy Hunter Star and the Grids and Patterns Conversion class. She's very friendly, she gives plenty of notes, and makes sure you understand what she is teaching before signing off. Even though I have had my AccuQuilt cutting system for several years, I am basically self-taught. This year, I plan to take the beginner class from Elaine and hope to use my AccuQuilt more in the future. Well, this sounds really great, Glenna, because you know I am an AccuQuilt owner as well, and I have a lot of the cube system and a lot of other templates, and I have to be honest, I haven't used it as much as I thought I would, but I might use it anymore. I might use it more, if I was to take a course. So I may have to look into this a little bit further and see what she is offering for 2026. And I see that right here, she does have a class calendar. So you can click on that, and I'm assuming you will get a look at things. The classes, she says, are listed below. And I'm not sure, however, if these classes are online or if they're in-person classes. That's all of that. What's she got in 2020? She's got a lot of classes. So I'm just looking back up here at the top. Excuse me, throat's a little choked up. all classes are Zoom online classes, so even better. So yes, I will have to pursue this a little further, I think. So if you have an AccuQuilt system or you're thinking of getting one, this might be worth checking out. So I will have the link for this in the show notes below. Thank you, Glenna, for your submission. So, what have I been working on the last week? Well, as usual, this, that, and everything. I'm never bored, always lots of things to do. You have seen some of the results of that, so in the little video I'm going to stick in here now, there might be a little bit of a repeat, but hey, what the heck. Okay, so this week I am talking about what I've made in the past week, and this is kind of an unusual place to start. I'm in my bathroom. Yeah, because I made a lot of things this week for the bathroom. So, there's Winnie the Pooh with his honey pot holding soap. And on the sink, we've got the penguin and we've got the minion. And then up on top, we've got all these different ones too. I think I'm done making these. I may have gone just a little far, but moving on. Let's see, there's nothing in on Lucy, is there? No, Lucy is bare, but I don't have any UFOs hanging up or anything. It looks pretty clean in here right now. That won't last. Let's move on. And well, the printers are kind of quiet today, but I am contemplating right now of buying another one of these, an AMS, to put on this big printer right here. And how am I going to fit it in? Well, that would mean one of these Creality printers has got to go out into the Lucy room. There's already two out there, so put a third. I really need to do something about getting rid of these because I'm not really using them. Maybe see if I can donate them to the local elementary school, although my experience with donating things to that school lately has been, well, at the most, no comment, because they don't return my calls or anything about stuff I want to donate to them. So we'll see. I have, oh yeah, up here, you know, these gnomes. Well, I've got another Valentine gnome pattern that I want to do. Just came out, and it was on, I think it was free, actually. I paid for it. It was only about $5 Canadian. What else can I show you? Well, of course, the Quilt of Valor that I finished. Already talked about this, and I'm working on the pattern for it right now. And I've got this on my table, the Springtime Table Runner. Already talked about that as well. See if we can get more of that done. And yeah, my project table is organized. I cleaned it up a little bit, so that's a good thing. And oh, I cleaned up my stabilizers as well. And when I say cleaned up my stabilizers, it means I found a couple of boxes and stuck the rolls in there. I really need to do something about that pile of stuff in that corner. Those are all fat quarter bundles, strip packages, and kits. And yeah, I've been thinking about going through my fat quarter drawers too and weeding some of that stuff out. But you know, every time I start doing that, I get bored. Excuse me, sneezing in here. Maybe that means I need to dust. I don't know. Anyways, that's what I've been up to, and we'll carry on. Okay, so that takes me to online quilt stores. I am done with Ontario. Yes, at least the list that I have, which, by the way, if you don't know already, and I have mentioned it before, I have a list of an extensive list of quilt shops across Canada in the show notes. I picked that up from another website some time ago. I should go and explore further to see if there's been an update on that. But especially for you that are Canadian and you're looking to support Canadian shopping right now, you may want to get your hands on the copy of that list. It's a PDF. It's free. It's in my show notes. Just click on it and you can download it, and you'll explore hundreds, literally hundreds of quilt shops across Canada. And most of them have websites, and that's where I'm drawing my information from. But as I said, I have worked my way through Ontario. I am now working my way through Manitoba. So here is my first one from Manitoba, Big Wheel Quilt Shop. This week's online quilt store is called Big Wheel Quilt Shop, and it's located in Austin, Manitoba. I have kind of exhausted the Ontario quilt shop. So now I'm moving into the province next door to us, which is Manitoba. So here's their front page for Big Wheel Quilt Shop. And you can see they look like they sell long arm systems. And they have Heat and Bond Light, Maywood fabric, which is 108 inch, Pioneer Spirit by Maywood, Thread Maxi Lock, lots of stabilizers, embroidery tools, and fabric and everything else in a newsletter as well, and their contact information. Okay, so let's pop up to the top to their menu and go under Shop. And on the left-hand side, they have categories. They have AccuQuilt, applique dies, boutiques, Big Country Toys, collector toys, Cuddle and Minky, dies, embroidery buddy, etc. Everything is listed down here, but I don't see fabric itself listed. However, up here in the menu, I did see they have boutiques, Cuddle and Minky, and here's their fabric selection. So you can sort through this by brand, price, color, etc. Or you can plunge right in. So they have farm animals, fat quarters, food, kits, Little House on the Prairie. They don't seem to have any images of any of these for some reason. So I don't know if they're a relatively new site or not. Then they have some patterns listed below. Well, okay, let's go to Maywood Studio Fabric and take a look at that. $11.99. I have a feeling that's for half a meter. Yes, they do everything in yards, not meters. So that's one thing. Canadian store should be done in meters. So it's basically $24 a yard. That's expensive. That's expensive. And I suspect that as we move into the western part of the country, we are going to find prices a little bit steeper because, of course, they're affected by how they get it. Let's go back and see if we can see some other things here in terms of selection. Well, they have a lot of novelty type fabrics. And then they have in the same, they have some fat quarter bundles, some charm packs. They have 3 pages of this particular one, and there's 60 results total. So if you're into Maywood, they seem to have some of it. None of this is really to my taste because I don't like a lot of florally fabrics, but I know lots of people out there do, so this may be for you. Although it is quite, actually it's even more, what did I say, 24? No, it's more like, and some of these are like $26 a yard. That is definitely more expensive than what we usually pay out here in Ontario. Okay, let's go back and back again. And let's just take a look at your fat quarters. Those are about what you would expect. They don't have many to choose from. Some Maywood fabrics there as well. Now the thing is, I'm not sure. I don't like the fact that I don't see an initial picture for each of these. So like wild animals, let's see what we have in there. Well, we have some paper piecing. We have some novelty. Looks like we have some panels. Yeah, a lot of this would be very appropriate, I think, for baby quilts. But there's not a lot of it. So I'm not really sure about the selection of fabrics. Right now, nothing's turning my crank. Let's try Pioneer Spirit. Again, nothing much there to choose from. Let's go food. Yeah. Popcorn. This isn't fabric. This is popcorn on the cob. Okay. Why that's being shown in with fabric, I really don't know. So I don't understand their organization. They have a lot of panels by the looks of things. But yeah, again, and I am seeing repeated fabrics here. Yeah, not my cup of tea. Maybe yours, but not mine. Okay, let's go back up into shop here and see what else. All right, they do sell the AccuQuilt system, so they have two. Um, they have some projects, the dies. Uh, I can't really say whether those are good price or not because actually anybody who deals with AccuQuilt as a company really have no choice on their pricing, from what I understand. That's all left up to AccuQuilt. So yeah. Um, but they've got a lot of AccuQuilt stuff, so I imagine they're obviously a dealer. Okay, dies. Okay, they sell toys. Why? I don't know, but they do. They sell toys. So that's something a little different when it comes to a quilt store. Let's see. Anything else we need to look at? Collector's Toys, Embroidery Buddy. Um, they have Minky and Cuddle. What are their prices like on that? $12.99 a half yard, so that's $26 a yard for some. Some are a little less. That one's a little less. That one's a little more. I don't know if that's a half yard. Wow. That one, that's expensive. Very expensive. So like we're talking $54 for a yard of this. I don't know. Okay, and they all vary in price and they're all very expensive. Okay, mind you, they are, okay, it's by the yard, but they're probably wider. Yeah, 60 inches wide. So that would also explain why they're a little bit more expensive. Okay, what else can we look at? I thought I saw thread. Embroidery machine. You can get an embroidery machine. They have big industrial type embroidery machines and some stabilizers and things like that. Okay. And I'm just looking here to see Barmel fabric, flannel. They have flannel gifts. They sell irons, June Taylor kits, panels, patterns. What do they have in patterns? Quilt pattern. Okay, not much there to choose from either. So overall, they seem to be a little light on product. Anything else we can see? Kits, panels, notions. They have the unique long arm machine. More AccuQuilt stuff. Books, batting. What's their batting? Okay, so they have heirloom batting, 80/20, 540/30, 437. But that is expensive. 108, 112, and that's 80/20. That is very, very pricey for batting. Okay. Well, I thought I saw thread somewhere in here, but maybe I didn't. Let's see. Did I miss it? Not seeing it there. Thought I saw something that said Maxi Thread, but maybe I'm mistaken. Do they have a search engine? Yes, right here. Okay, let's go thread. See what comes up. Here we go. Thread Maxi Lock is what they sell. And Ohora, glow in the dark thread. I've never heard of that brand. Monte Paulo Cone Thread Smoke. Okay, and they've got things mixed up in here. It's not really a separate category. It has other things in here as well. Let's see. Okay, $7.99. Is used by major serger manufacturers, test their machines for demonstrations. So basically it is a serger thread. Maybe you can use it as well for quilting or piecing. Possibly. I'm not familiar with the brand, so I really don't know. Okay, what about shipping? Do we have anything about that? About us, shop online. Okay. And I see nothing about shipping, so I guess you're going to have to wait until you put in an order to find out how that works. Okay, well, it looks like it's a family-owned business of sorts, and I think they are limited in what they what they're providing. Um, their selection is not that great. Their prices are fairly high, but again, that could be. We'll find out as I explore more of Manitoba's quilt shops to see that maybe the standard pricing in Manitoba. And there are factors for that, shipping and all that kind of thing. I would have liked to have known what it was going to cost for shipping. And I would have liked to have seen some more selection in terms of brands of thread. The website is fairly easy to manage. So that's a good point too. So I guess overall, with everything I've said, Big Wheel Quilt Shop, I am going to give them probably a 6 out of 10. So that brings me to the end of this episode of the Idiot Quilter. And what's coming up? Well, I have something special, something I haven't done in quite a while. I am conducting an interview later this week with someone that has a new YouTube channel, relatively new. He is a male and he is a quilter. And I'll be interviewing him. That's all I'm going to say about who it is right now, just in case things don't pan out. But that's the plan. I'm interviewing him later this week, and so I will have that video up pretty soon. Maybe by the end of the week. We'll see if all goes well. So stay tuned for that. And anything else coming up? Not really. Not right now, but who knows? Every day it's a new day. So I hope you have a great week, and we'll talk to you later. Bye for now.